Right, so this is Ruby Storm versus Grixis Shadow, testing for the Modern Pro Tour in Amsterdam. And this is basically the Ruby Storm list I'm playing, except I have the One Ring instead of Flame Slash at the point of these games. I am going to be playing against Mati on Grixis Shadow. And he's playing like Nethergoyf, DRC, Death Shadow, some like 2 Storm in Denials main deck, a bunch of removal spells, and yeah, let's to drown in a lock as well, and let's see how it goes. So there's an unfortunate bug that like the replays kind of break as soon as Rel starts coming into play and flipping, because I think the replay is just randomizing the flips instead of seeing what actually happened in the game, and so it just like stops functioning at some point. So I'm just gonna go through like the early turns, and I can't really go through like what actually happens on the storm turns. But anyways, we have a quick easy keep here, which even has the double ritual Ral, so threatens a turn 2 kill. And Mati is, brave enough to tap out for a Dragon Rage channel on turn 1. And this gives me an opportunity to maybe do something here. So I'm unlikely to go off, but I can maybe like gain some advantage and put myself in a good spot. And maybe if I'm lucky, I can like chain enough spells to flip the Ral. So that's what I'm gonna try to do here. So I think I end up playing Ral, playing Ritual, and eventually I end up flipping Ral, and I -8 him, and I brick completely. I hit like 1 thing and 7 misses, and I only have 2 mana in my mana pool at this point, so I can't play the Burgie. I really needed to hit anything that gave mana. So I just like set up for the next turns, and the rest. This is one of those games where it's sad that you can't see the replay fully, but the rest of the game is basically around the wishes and how I think I have one that I binned pretty early, and then I have another one that's stuck in exile, and then my third one gets countered by Drown in a Luck. And so now I'm at a point where I have like 14 cards left in my deck, and I need to like draw a wish before he kills me, essentially. But I do untap and go like Rent Resolve into Wish and immediately win the game. So, because at that point I had enough mana. I think I went on like turn 5 or 6 this game. But yeah, it basically had a chance to go off turn 2, just got a big advantage, and he couldn't really come back from it. Essentially, when you find and resolve a Ruby Medallion, the game is pretty hard for Death Shadow, but this deck can fizzle, so there is that. There is that still. All right. Anyways, let's try and see how game 2 went. So yeah, basically in this version, like Wish is the only kill, so it's a pretty risky against counterspells, but you also usually dig hard enough that like you don't get punished that often for it. So anyways, here we also have a great opening hand with Ruby Medallion, hoping to not get it discarded, but that does happen. We get hit by a Channeler into a Thoughtseize, takes away the Ruby. We put Summon Ground in Graveyard. Let's see if we can draw another Ritual to do something stupid on turn 2. We cannot, so we just have to pass here. No place. I'm playing out Cobble Gorge instead of the Arid Mesa, because on so you could like fetch for a commercial district, and surveil again. But I want to make sure that on turn 4 I have my 4th untapped land, because that's the ideal turn to play Rel, play another spell, and if you try to kill Rel, you can respond with an instant and keep him alive, or you keep him alive half the time. Yeah, this game is risky. So let's see how this goes. So so Magic goes Expressive Iteration and bricks on land, which I think this gives me an opening to just go off. Yeah, because I draw the Ruby Medallion here. Yes. So what I realized that I can do is I realized a bit too late, because I actually misplay and play my Cobble Gorge. I'm supposed to play the Arid Mesa, but I can play Medallion, Desperate Ritual, Ral, 2 mana floating, play Wish for 1 mana, so now I have 1 mana left. And in my sideboard, I boarded out 1 copy of Poetic Ritual. So this is one of those spots where it actually comes up that it's nice to board them out. And I've been thinking about having 1 in the sideboard, but I also feel like these spots come up more often post-board. So maybe you just like, in a lot of matchups, just board out a copy of Poetic Ritual. But essentially, a Wish turns into a Ritual if you have like both Ral, or if you have 2 medallions. If you have 2 cost reduction effects, the Wish costs 1 mana, and you can get a 1 mana Ritual that gains 3, so it's like +1 mana essentially. And +1 mana is exactly what I need to make the Wish for Underworld Breach function, where I still have 1 mana left in pool. So we do exactly that. Medallion, Ritual, Ral, Wish for Poetic Ritual. Ritual again now have 3 mana. Wish for Underworld Breach. Then I can flashback a Ritual flashback a Wish, and at this point, I was one card in the graveyard short of getting Grave Shot and just doing that twice because I played the Copperline Gorge and not the Arid Mesa. So I couldn't win immediately, but I could just get empty the Warrens and win next turn. He has Toxic Deluge, but I don't know if he brought it in or not. But anyways, I make like 20 goblins and he dies. That's what happens here. And yeah, if I play it out, you'll see that the game breaks. So it doesn't actually, yeah, it starts breaking really quickly and then it just passes here. Yeah, that's not what happened. I have 20 goblins to play in the real game. All right, let's see how the rest of them work with this weird replay bug. So game 2 here, I'm on the play again, and I have a double ritual Ral hand. So yeah, let's see if he taps out on turn 1. This is actually a hand that like is fairly likely to get there, right? I have my draw step plus the draw for Mana Morphos to do something, and if I don't get there, I can just wish for Galvanic Relay and just like have a bunch of cards set up for next turn. But he plays Polluted Delta and just passes. So at this point, it feels too risky for me to go for anything here. Drawing a second wish, definitely like not happy with that. So I think here I just pass. Yeah, I think here I just pass. He goes Nethergorth, just an 0-1, but you know, it's gonna be pressure at some point. I draw a Wrench Resolve. I mean, I would have liked to have Land Drops, but this is almost better, except if it gets countered, which it does. See, obviously this spot is like not super comfortable. But we're also not under much of a clock here, so I just play my land and pass. Again, want to try and like do something on turn 4. So hopefully we can draw another land. We see the incredible Dress Down plus Nethergorth synergy there. And I'm gonna be able to fetch a Commercial District to like surveil for that land. Goes Expressive Iteration, only has 1 mana up, so yeah, if I can flip my Rel in response to the removal spell, that should be enough to win. And so I Commercial District, put Wrench Resolve in the graveyard. Wrench Resolve would be a super nice card here, in theory, to like help develop my mana base, etc. But I think I need to just take this opportunity. He has 7 cards in hand. I think I need to take this one opportunity to win the game by flipping Ral in response to a removal spell. So I do draw land here, and that's exactly what I do. I go Ral. In response, they go Ral into Desperate Ritual. He tries to kill it. I'm not even sure if that's the correct timing for him to do it, honestly. Knowing that I'm supposed to save my instance, so the fact that I start with an instant means I have more instants in hand. Like, I have to have more instants. And I essentially get to, like, play both of them in response, flip my Ral, and take it from there. I think he even had, like, an Unholy Heat, which actually could have targeted the Ral after it flips. So it's like, I don't know if you have, like, a good window to do it, but it's interesting. Though, of course, if you just let me have my Ral, it doesn't actually change anything, right? I can just... Like, I could just do the ritual, then I can play a Wish or something, right? And I still have, like, play enough mana up for other things. So, yeah, maybe he's just screwed anyway. But anyways, yeah, what happens is that I play Ritual. I think I lose the first flip, and then I'll play Manamorphose with the mana, still in response to the Unholy Heat, win the second flip, and that's... And then I just, like, have, what, like, 7 mana in pool, which is enough to just go Wish for a Past in Flames and kill him. That's it. If you have 2 rituals in graveyard and 7 mana in pool and a cost reduction, you just win the game immediately off Wish. Because you go Wish for Past in Flames. Okay, so this all happened as it did. And, oh, okay. I think that actually almost like went as it should. But yeah, you get Past in Flames. Flashback everything. Flashback the Wish, get Grape Shot. Grape Shot for a bunch. Probably lethal at this point. But even if it isn't, you can flashback the Past in Flames, and then flashback the Grape Shot. And that's how you get to lethal here. Yeah. Past in Flames, Grape Shot, kill. Very easy to kill with the Wish. You don't actually need to, like, chain all these, like, draw spells. The only reason they're in the deck is to, like, find... Essentially, like, combine the combo of 2 rituals plus Wish. That's, like, the 3-card combo you need to find. Well, plus a cost reduction, so it's a 4-card combo. Alright, so that went well. Let's see game 2 here of this match. I think this is one where Mati bricks on land. So let's see, I mulligan the first hand because it's a 1-lander. This hand is not very enticing, but I think on 6 against an interactive deck, I think I have to keep this. because I do have the 2 impulse effects, and I do have fetch land for commercial district, so I can dig towards something. I'm gonna bottom a fetch land here, and yeah, we see a DRC on turn 1. I think actually maybe this isn't the game where he breaks on land. This is a different game, but so he inquisitions me and takes away my wish. So he's like definitely on the like point of like trying to fight over my action spells. And like again, if he can deal with all my wishes with counter spells and discard, like I die. But because that's the only card that actually does something in the way this deck is built. But yeah, so it's kind of interesting here. I think ideally that you want to like if you have your land drop set up, I think it's actually better to save these until turn play them on turn 3, so that on turn 4, which is the like a better turn to try and go off, you can do it. Like for instance, if I Reckless Impulse now and I hit a Rel, it's not super good because I can play the Rel or I can try and like play something and he'll immediately kill the Rel. And if I pass, he just goes to his turn and kills it because Rel only triggers on your own turn. So I think here I'm actually okay. So I think I haven't maybe not learned this yet. Yeah, I'm just questing through it here, and it's possible because I have so many of these effects that I just want to like try and cash them in to look for to look for the thing, what's it called, the Ruby Medallion. Yeah, maybe that's actually fine to do here. It's also like playing out Question Druid is not like the worst in this matchup. Of course, if he's forced to like leave up mana because I hit something threatening, then he's not growing his creatures. So yeah, maybe it's fine to place the Seek the Beast on the end step here. And I do hit a Ruby Medallion and a Wish. So he goes Thoughtseize. Sees that I have 3 copies of the same card essentially. I think he takes away my Glimpse because that's the one that digs the hardest. Again, he's trying to go for action. Just develops another Nethergoyf. Doesn't hit a land drop here. And I get really lucky here and draw a Desperate Ritual. So, yeah, now I just get to go Ruby into Desperate Ritual. Into Wish. What do I wish for? I think I actually get even more lucky. I think I play Reckless Impulse and hit another Ritual here. No, I just hit another Rent Resolve. But yeah, I do that, and then I hit 2 rituals off that one. Yeah, so I get really lucky here. I mean, I don't necessarily need to do that, because I'm, like, not necessary. Oh, I might actually be dying next turn. If you can grow both Goyfs to 5, it's not trivial. But if you can, and get the Dragon Age Channel to 3, it is 13 damage. So, I guess it's kind of close if I don't hit the ritual. But I do hit both rituals here, and I think that puts me at 5 mana. So I think I can wish for Underworld Breach and probably have that be lethal. I think that's what I end up doing. Yeah. Flashback this, flashback Grape Shot, and then... Or Escape. Yeah. Yeah, so I get the first Grape Shot, and then you just get to do it a second time, because I have 1 mana floating, and Wish. So it's a little trick, like, you don't fill up your graveyard that much, but in some games, the Breach is just, like, incredible. And, yeah, definitely think you need both the Past and Flames and the Breach in the sideboard for the Wishes to work. That has been very relevant. But okay, that was cool. Nice little game there of a little bit of luck. You know, get Thoughtseize, then draw the perfect card, and then cantrip into 2 more perfects. But I feel like that's an advantage this deck has, right? It's like it has like, you know, this like chance of getting like of you being lucky at times, but it also makes it a little bit hard to discern like how powerful the deck actually is in testing, because you know, like how often do you get this lucky? How often do you get correspondingly unlucky? How unlucky do you need to get for it to result in a loss, and yeah, etc. All right. Anyways, this is the match where we lose the die roll. So I want to draw for game 1 here, and this hand is like, I think because I have the Ruby and I have 2 rituals, and there's even a chance I can go off on turn 2. I mean, he might, you know, he's on the play. He's probably not going to be tapped out on turn 2, but maybe he is. And I think I just need to like take that opportunity to keep this hand. I really wish this was a fetch land, so I could Surveil. It just like increases my chances so much more of hitting the land. But anyways, I'm gonna take a risk here and keep this, and it's against the Thoughtseize deck, etc. So landlight hands have advantage. or action heavy hands advantage. And I immediately stopped the Stomping Ground. I'm just gonna play it here. No reason to show him that. Or to like keep the info that I don't have a second land and like take 2 damage to do that. So yeah, he thoughts he's again, develops a Death Shadow. And so here I can either just play a Reckless Impulse and try and set up for next turn. The issue is that Berkey doesn't work like the other cost reductions. It's not at all a cost reduction creature, actually. It doesn't really work the same way. Because you can't just like Ritual, like you can't just play that and immediately play a Ritual. And you can't even, I can't, even if I draw land next turn, I can't go like Ritual, Berkey, play another Ritual. Because, I mean, these are still going to be 2 mana up front. Berkey is really strong when you have another cost reduction. Or if you at least get to untap and have like your full set of lands available. And so I think for that reason, I'm going to just play out the Berkey here. He can't play Unholy Heat with these lands. So if I just play a Berkey here and pray that it survives, I mean, it might, you know, it might get me there. He can still drown in a locket. He still has Lightning Bolt. I do think like he Thoughtseize me and he took Rent Resolve instead of taking Berkey, knowing that I could play it out on turn 2. And honestly, the fact that he didn't take away Berkey probably means he has an answer for it. But it's also possible he just like didn't like calculate that I would just like ritual it out here. So it's a little tough to say if that should make a difference. It's very possible I'm supposed to Reckless Impulse here and just try and set up instead. If this was a Goblin and a Necromancer instead, it's like a lot better for me, except for, of course, it runs into Unholy Heat. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to like develop the Berkey here and see if it dies. And I'm getting Inquisition anyway, so like, you know, the Berkey would have died like no matter what, but it is also getting bolted here. And yeah, now we're reduced to not very much gas. Oh, that's the wrong button. I draw another Ritual, so I could like Ritual out a Glimpse the Impossible. I'm not under that much pressure, so I don't think I need to do that yet. I think I'm just passing here. Because it's possible that like if I draw a cost reduction, I can get there. Anyway, so I draw a Questing Druid, and I hit yeah, just 2 lands, which is fine. I mean, I just needed to hit 1 land essentially. Oh, but then he goes Dress Down, Death Shadows are 13/13, and I can't fetch anymore, and so I die. I try to get somewhere, but yeah, I could play the Questing Druid to jump block, but it doesn't actually matter. And yeah, so that was like kind of like showing the vulnerability of Berkey being kind of awkward. And I don't know, maybe I should have just played a Reckless Impulse on that turn. Honestly, I guess a general rule of thumb is that if they Thoughtseize away a card and you draw that same card, you're probably supposed to do that because that's the thing they didn't want you to have, right? So you should probably like, you know, go with what they're telling you. Yeah, that's an interesting heuristic to try and adopt. Anyways, game 2, we are on the play here, and reveal the Gigantha. Okay, so we have a nice Rel hand here, so we're definitely gonna keep that. Let's see if we get Thoughtseized. We don't. So he just plays Scalding Tongue Go. So it means I'm probably not gonna play out my Rel if I can avoid it. I even put the Bloodstained Mine in the graveyard. The reason for that is that I'm trying to like look for, like I'm probably gonna hit a land of my other things here, and I really want to look for a Ritual. That would be one of the stronger things to have. So here I'm just gonna go on the Questing Druid, trying to develop my mana here. He goes Raucous Theater, Surveils at the bottom, and I set up a Questing Druid here. Do hit a Ritual, but I have to go for it next turn. He just has a 1-lander here. On the draw with the fetch land for Raucous Theater, but didn't get there. Decided to just play out a Channeler rather than like play around like leaving up a Bolt, because I could have easily have other things, and I guess he's probably correct for doing that. I mean, I could also just go like Ritual, play Rel, play Rent Resolve, have a mana up for Manamorphose, and like 50-50 chance I save it from Bolt anyway. But yeah, so anyway, this turn we can just kind of go off, right? I do my Rel thing, and there's a chance I should just like try and set up a little bit of value here, and just use the Rel to like minus on the Dragon Rage Channeler to just kill it. I can set up a Questing Druid and grow that one fairly early. I think that's actually what I mess up this game. I end up not making green mana, I think. No, I do make green mana here, so that's not this game. But yeah, anyway, I rouse resolve into a double Ritual, and yeah, now I can look at 7 more cards, and it's probably good enough. I ended up deciding to flip my Ral pretty early, which I'm not sure is correct. Maybe I'm just supposed to like sit there, like have it sit there and deal me a bit more damage. I probably am actually, and then like flip it later when it can ultimate. But anyways, I decided to flip it early so I can like shoot the Dragon Mage Channeler and figured that like if I just make a big questing druid and have a Ral Planeswalker, it's probably good enough. But as Machi pointed out, he did have Drown in a Lock in hand, and so he could just get rid of the druid, and then the Ral was not necessarily threatening. But it is, because I have so many cards. Anyways, that was a quick game, because he had no lands. Alright, here we have another one of those hands that are like, kind of sketch, but it does have 2 rituals, and so I don't know, the power of the fetch land for Surveil and etc. We get Thoughtseize here. We probably I likely drew another action card, so he might take away my wish. So he does take away my questing druid. Okay, and yeah, I think yeah, I think maybe this was a mulligan. Like it's just like not gas heavy enough. And here I'm going to do the thing where I hold on to my Relentless Impulse and try and set up for turn 4. But unfortunately, he's just gonna be bearing down on me here, leaving up a single mana. So I'm thinking about Stubborn Deny here, which means I do play the land before I Impulse, just to be safe. Oh, well, I draw a Ruby Medallion. Okay, so now I'd rather just resolve the Ruby. And as it so happens that, oh, he doesn't have the counter spell. Okay, so actually I feel like I'm in a good position here. I decide to hold on to the Reckless Impulse because of Stubborn Denial. Though that's probably gonna be like active next turn anyway, so I'm not sure how much that matters. Yeah, and I think I actually end up deciding that I should just start to go off anyway. Yeah, just start to play a ritual, and if he stubs that, that's fine, because I have plenty of mana next turn anyway. And if he doesn't have Stubborn Denial, maybe I can like get further than I thought I would. But I don't get that much further. I just hit 2 more mana things, which is one of the issues with having a deck that's like centered around these, is that they don't necessarily do anything. They just like you have to like kind of like chain them for it to be good, or you have to hit one of your action spells. And he puts on a ton of pressure, and I think I don't draw something good here. I can survive with I was planning on like playing Jegantha. I could just play out Rel instead. That's probably what I'm supposed to do, but I'm just gonna play my Jegantha instead, and yeah, get Thoughtseized anyway. That's fine, so it doesn't matter. Then I go off a little bit, but I think I end up fizzling. I just like make a Cresting Druid and it doesn't matter. Yep. That's how I lost this game. So essentially what happened there, yeah, I don't know. I kept a very action light hand, which is definitely an issue. And then he thought these 2 of my action spells, and I just like flooded out on mana. And even though I could like at the end turn here change like Wrench Resolve into Questing Druid, it like just didn't get me anywhere. Because again, Wish is the only card that actually does anything. So yeah, I don't know. If you add like if I had more like Past and Flames and stuff to the deck, it would be a lot easier to win from spots like this. But I don't have that right now because I don't know. It hurts. It hurts other parts of consistency, I guess. But maybe not that much. Makes you a little bit more vulnerable to Graveyard Hate, but maybe not that much. Yeah, I don't know. Game 2. So we lost the game where we were on the play. Oh wait, this is the one we. Oops. Right. So this going on to the last one here. This is the one where we are on the play. And let's see here. I keep a nice hand with Ruby Medallion. This is actually a really cool game, or like not cool, but a cool early turn. So he just fetches Steam Ends. He has to fetch because of Bobble. He does have 2 Consider in his deck, and he has 2 Stubborn Denial. And I'm thinking about like whether to play out my Ruby Medallion or not here. So I feel like holding it is risky because he could draw. He has 2 draws towards a discard spell, and that would be not great for me. But playing it here plays right into Stubborn Denial, which I also don't want to have happen. So I conclude that actually I think I'm going to have enough mana with just this Metamorphose that I'm just going to waste a Ritual to play around Stubborn Denial. So I'm going to Ritual here. If that gets denied, perfectly fine. That's okay. And if it that's way better than having my medallion get hit by Storm Denial. And if not, then I'm just gonna like play the medallion and also play a Rent Resolve, and I hit 2 more copies of Rent Resolve. He just had Consider though, he didn't have Storm Denial, and now I have a medallion in play. So now his aim is to like just, well, he can see that I have like way too many cards here, so he's gonna try and like fight me on my mana. It's really difficult though, because this turn I can just go resolve, and like since he doesn't have pressure, I can just keep like chaining these things and just building up towards bigger and bigger turns until eventually like I'll overwhelm him. And I draw a Desperate Ritual and he just immediately concedes, and I can see why. Like, you can see the writing on the wall here. I think there's a good chance I'm not even supposed to play the Ritual here because he can't deal with the medallion. So I might just be supposed to like play a Rent Resolve and then play the second one and hit like a land and another Rent Resolve and maybe just go from there. I guess the Ritual would probably let me play more stuff. Yeah. Anyways, he's gonna be dead here. Game 2. So I have this hand here. It's kind of interesting. It doesn't have any cost reduction. It does have 2 rituals, and I can Reckless Impulse for stuff. And then the Glimpse the Impossible is also kind of interesting for playing around interaction. It spots you a bunch of like spawns, which can jump block. And I think in general, like that's just pretty good. So gonna get hit by Thoughtseize here, which is probably gonna take the Impulse. Yeah, and I draw Ral. Okay, so we'll see if I can do anything cool here on turn 2. If he taps out, but he doesn't tap out. So I'm just gonna Commercial District, leave this Reckless Impulse on top, but he just snaps off the Storm Denial to deny me my mana here. And now there's a Shadow in play, so obviously everything is dicey. And yeah, now we're in this spot here where I could play a Ral, but if I do, like if I play a Ral here, he can, like if I play Ral into Ritual, he'll just immediately kill my Ral if he has a removal spell. Or if I pass the turn to leave up instant, he just takes his own turn and kills it. So neither actually accomplishes very much for me. Or I could play Glimpse the Impossible. What Glimpse does here is that it just sets up my mana way better next turn, so that I can go Ral into Glimpse and have 2 instants up. In case of like a removal spell. I can only play one of my instants unless I draw a land. But that could potentially get me somewhere. The issue is, of course, that then I waste one of my glimpses, and I don't have a very gas-heavy hand. So flipping Ral to save it from removal doesn't necessarily do anything, because if I like right now my constriction isn't cards because I have 2 glimpses, but if I flip my Ral, cards could definitely be a constriction. So I'm not really sure what to do here. I think there's a lot of value in just playing out the glimpse, but maybe I am supposed to just risk the Ral here and see where that takes me. I do decide to just glimpse here. And yeah, it's obviously, it does have the downsides. The big issue with glimpse compared to the other ones is that like you can't spend mana now and set up for next turn. And maybe that is like actually just too costly. So here we have a Dragon Rage Channeler and a pass again. Okay, so this Berg is also interesting. So it kind of helps me play around interaction, but not really. So I could play Bergie, play Rel, get 1 mana back, play a Desperate Ritual, play Glim, and then like, you know, we'll see what happens from there. And if he has one piece of removal, the issue is that my Bergie is probably the one dying, but that means my Rel is gonna live. But then I need to hit something off my Glimpse. Or I could like try and do the thing where I save the Rel, and maybe get somewhere, and I can hold the Bergie to be the Horn. The Horn doesn't do anything though, because I have like all these cards in hand. Or I don't have all these cards in hand because I'm gonna have to spend them to protect my Rel and gain mana and everything. So I'm not really sure what to do here. I think maybe there's a chance that my line here should be to just play the Horn and pass. I actually don't hate that. Wonder if that's what I do. No, I do commit to the Rel here. Play a Glimpse, and I just completely break off the Glimpse. I hit Rel and Mountain here, and I can't do anything. I can try and flip my Rel, with a Paretic Ritual, which maybe I should have done. I think maybe I should have done that, actually. I think in my mind, I was thinking that I can just play the second Rel next turn, but that's not how it works. It's just going to go away. So yeah, I think I should have tried to flip my Rel. If I succeed, I can play the second Rel. And then, so, like, still demands removal. And it's going to be big enough that it's not going to die to the Dragon Rage Channeler. And then I still have 2 spawns to jump block with. And then maybe next turn I can do the Horn or something. And if he tries to kill my Rel, I can just play the second Ritual, like, get the Horn down. Maybe get Gigantha in my hand, and we can go from there. Yeah, so I think I misplayed there. I definitely should have tried to play a Ritual and see what happens. But that's not what I do. So he just waits until his turn to kill my Ral. I surveil a Arid Mesa. I surveil something to the top, I guess. Which is a Wrench Resolve. All right, so I think here I'm not dead next turn, so I could probably play a Berkey here and then try and see if I can get somewhere. I have all this mana, so maybe I can do something, but I don't have a cost reduction, which is key. I could also have just played out the Berkey as a mana dork, but then I'm really relying on this Wrench Resolve doing anything. So yeah, I'm not sure. The biggest issue is that the whole I think I just don't quite understand that the Horn is not gonna like get me that much. Just means that like essentially I can turn this Wrench Resolve into a 0 mana card by just discarding it, which I should do. I hope I do that. So like essentially I just have like access to 8 cards here. I'm probably gonna keep 1 Ritual to have enough, but yeah. So I discard the Wrench Resolve. I discard the Paretic Ritual. That's fine. Hit a Ruby Medallion. Okay, that's actually really nice. That kind of like starts everything. So I can play the Ruby, and then I get hit by the Consign to Memory here. So yeah, that's an issue. So now I have to try and go off again. I don't know why I don't discard this Wrench Resolve. Why I think it's better than... Okay, I finally discard the Wrench Resolve. So yeah, now I have Ritual Metamorphose, Reckless Impulse. The good thing about Metamorphose, hitting off the Horn, is that it draws another card that you can discard. I have 5 mana, so I can't quite do anything yet. It's very, very frustrating. So I have to just like Metamorphose here. I have to hit a cost reduction creature somehow, because otherwise I'm just dead. I hit a land, that's fine. We can discard that. We still don't get there. I think I have maybe 1 more shot if I can chain things right, but I end up just like not getting there. Just hitting more like Wishes and Wrench Resolves and Questing Druids, and they don't do anything. This board is too big, and yeah, we can see that getting down the Horn just like didn't do that much. I definitely missed out on 2 cards because I didn't find a spot to put Gigantha in my hand. But honestly, I think the big issue with that game was the Ral turn, where I just like I Ral into Glimpse. And maybe my whole strategy there was wrong, but at least like not trying to flip the Ral was a problem. Because like my bottleneck here is that I don't have a cost reduction thing. And at least I could have like tried to fight over his removal a bit. All right. And game 3. Let's see if we can get it out here. I'm keeping one of those hands that just have a lot of gas. Yeah, this is probably like an acceptable hand. I think some of my other hands are probably not acceptable, but also like being on the play helps a lot. Anyways, I keep a card on top. I forgot what it was, but you probably saw it. I think it is... Is it a Ritual? That's a Metamorphose. Oh yeah, you can obviously always keep the Metamorphose on top. And I decided to just play out a Questing Druid here. So the reason for this is, again, I want to like set up my card draw on next turn. And I think the Questing Druid could actually do something. But instead I end up like, things happen where there's just a trade offered by the Dragon Rage Channeler, and I decide to just take the trade instead of trying to race with my Questing Druid. Which, I don't know, maybe is weird. And then I draw a Ral, and it's kind of interesting, and I decide, okay, maybe I can flip. Like, drawing Ral here punishes me super hard for trading, because I could have played and flipped Ral, and then -1 to deal 1 damage to the 2 channelers and just kill both of them. But instead I just Ral into Metamorphose. I hit a Ruby. I just decide to play the Ruby. I have all this gas in hand, and yeah, he needs to deal with a lot of stuff here. He has the Nihil Spellbomb, but doesn't actually do anything. And so I feel pretty confident I can get here. I just like, he probably has a counterspell for my Wish. And so I need to like make sure I can win around that. And maybe I do need to like play out a Cresting Druid to make that happen. But anyways, we start by just doing this. Wrench Resolve into Glimpse Impossible, hitting a bunch of Metamorphoses. And I do cast the Wish, and he doesn't actually have a counterspell. And I just make a bunch of goblins and he dies. Okay, cool. So yeah, that is Ruby Storm versus Grixis Shadow. Ended up going 3-1 in matches here, but also 3-1 in die rolls. And yeah, it's kind of interesting to see like how well the Ruby Storm plays against people who can't interact at 0 mana. Because the fact that like whenever he taps out on turn 1 and he's on the draw, I might have a chance to do something really good. Whenever he leaves up 1 mana, I can just slow down enough so that I can get around the 1 mana. Whenever he leaves around a bunch of stuff, I can just really like take my time setting up because that means he's not pressuring me. So yeah, I think there's definitely potential there. Like seeing how this deck, which looks like it should wreck a flimsy Storm deck, it's actually not like winning here, which means the Storm deck might not be flimsy. But yeah, just early initial games, so we'll see how it goes from here.